Games are coming thick and fast in the Premier League. Of course, it is now the Christmas period. Game week 18 predictions. I go head to head in this episode with channel regular Craig Dearman.
Chris Cowlin. Fan cams. Club news. Transfer news. Match previews. Legend interviews. Spurs winning. Press conferences. Covering everything Tottenham and England.
Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all keeping well. So this is a new series on the channel. This is score predictions, game week 18. We will be doing this every single week now until the end of the season. And every week I'll be going head to head, predicting the scores with one of the channel regulars or a very special guest. And it's quite simple. 5 points for the correct score or 2 points for a correct result, i.e. a win, a draw or a defeat. This week's guest, who I'll be going head to head against, is Craig Dearman. So let's get straight into it. On Thursday, Crystal Palace face Brighton. On Friday, Aston Villa face Sheffield United. Saturday, there is 6 games. West Ham host Manchester United. Fulham play Burnley. Luton against Newcastle. Nottingham Forest take on Bournemouth. Spurs take on Everton. And then it is Liverpool v Arsenal in the late kickoff. And on Sunday, Wolves face Chelsea. Of course, that is Christmas Eve as well. So first up, Thursday night's game, Crystal Palace against Brighton at Selhurst Park. I've just read an interesting stat here. Each of the past 4 league fixtures between these teams at Selhurst Park ended in a 1-1 draw. So guess what I'm going to go for? I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. Palace are currently 15th in the league table. Brighton are 9th. Brighton in recent seasons have been absolutely brilliant. Their performances and results, though, of late haven't been what we are used to seeing these last couple of years. But I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw purely based on that stat that the past 4 league fixtures have ended 1-1 at Selhurst Park.
Palace Brighton, I'm going to go for 1-1. Tough place to go, Palace. I know it's a cliche, but it is what it is. Brighton, good team, been performing well. Not quite to the standards of last season. It's going to be tough for them, but I think they'll get a draw.
So Friday night's game, Aston Villa against Sheffield United. Aston Villa are currently 3rd in the Premier League table. Their home form in the Premier League has been absolutely sensational. I cannot see anything but an Aston Villa win. Of course, Sheffield United are sitting at bottom of the Premier League table. Of course, they have changed their manager recently as well. Chris Wilder has come back. But Emery has done a fantastic job at Villa Park. I'm going to go actually for a 3-0 Aston Villa win.
Villa, Sheffield United. I'm going to go for a Villa win here, 2-0. Villa have been absolutely outstanding this season, and I think they're going to pretty much steamroller Sheffield United.
So now coming on to Saturday's fixtures, West Ham United face Manchester United at the London Stadium. West Ham are currently 8th, Manchester United are 7th. Manchester United have been very, very inconsistent this season. Of course, their fans were celebrating a 0-0 draw at Anfield last weekend. West Ham have just been beaten at Anfield 5-1 in the Carabao Cup. This is going to be an interesting game. West Ham, I'm going to go for a West Ham win, actually. I think that West Ham are going to win this one 1-0.
West Ham, Manchester United. Hammers lost tonight. They're not in a good place. They're not playing brilliant football, nor are United really, but I think Manchester United are just going to have a little bit too much for West Ham. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to Manchester United.
So next up, Fulham take on Burnley at Craven Cottage. Fulham are currently 11th in the Premier League table. Burnley are down in 19th. Burnley have shipped a lot of goals so far this season. And interestingly, the last 2 games at Craven Cottage in the Premier League for Fulham, 2 5-0 wins, beating Nottingham Forest and West Ham. I'm going to go for a home win. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Fulham win.
Fulham Burnley. Fulham had a great win recently. I think they're playing really good football at the moment, so I'm going to go for a 3-1 Fulham win.
Next up, Luton Town take on Newcastle Saturday afternoon. That is going to be a very emotional game, certainly for the Luton fans at Kenilworth Road, because, of course, their captain, Tom Lockyer, suffered a cardiac arrest away at Bournemouth at the weekend. So wishing him a speedy recovery and all of the very best for the future. Newcastle have gone through a tough couple of weeks. Of course, losing away at Tottenham 4-1, getting beaten at home and knocked out of the Champions League. Got beaten up at home by AC Milan. They did beat Fulham, though, on Saturday, 16th of December. And then, of course, they've just been knocked out of the Carabao Cup away at Chelsea. Kieran Trippier making that mistake late on. Kieran Trippier also missing a penalty. And they lost 4-2 on penalties. So being knocked out of two competitions in the matter of a week, their confidence is going to be pretty low at the moment, but they need to pick themselves up. Luton v Newcastle, I'm actually going to go for a 1-1 draw.
Luton, Newcastle. Newcastle have been riddled with injuries, much like us. Luton are really trying to stay in the Premier League this season, and they're putting up a bit of a fight, but I think Newcastle are just going to have a bit too much. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Newcastle win.
Nottingham Forest take on Bournemouth Saturday afternoon at the City Ground. Of course, Forest have just sacked Steve Cooper. Wrong decision in my eyes. They have just appointed Nuno Espirito Santo, of course, former manager of Wolves and Tottenham. So he has managed in the Premier League before, but he didn't have a very good spell at Spurs, as we all know. Nottingham Forest at the moment are sat just above the relegation zone in 17th. Bournemouth are 14th, but when you look at Bournemouth's results and performances of late, a 2-2 home draw against Aston Villa, who are flying at the moment, and their most recent results, beating Crystal Palace 2-0 away and Manchester United 3-0 away. I actually see a Bournemouth win. I know some people would say that, you're going to get that manager bounce, that new manager bounce, Nuno coming in, but I think there's so much work to do at Nottingham Forest. Personally, I would have stayed with Steve Cooper because I think that Steve Cooper would have turned things around and got the results in the end and kept Forest in the Premier League. But of course, they've made that change. You don't have much time in the Premier League these days. You lose a few games, and of course, the chairman and the owners want to change it up. But I'm going to go for a Bournemouth win, 2-1.
Notts Forest, Bournemouth. Forest, obviously, with a new manager in Nuno this week. I still think it's going to be a tough game for them. Bournemouth have been doing okay, but I'm going to go for a 1-1.
Spurs host Everton Saturday afternoon at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, 3 p.m. kickoff. Now, this is going to be a tough game, but I do have faith in this Spurs squad, this Spurs team, and Ange Postecoglou, and I do think that Spurs are going to win. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Spurs win. When I say difficult, Everton have come into some great form of late. So far in December, they've played 4 games and they have won the lot. Beating Nottingham Forest 1-0 away, beating Newcastle at home 3-0, beating Chelsea at home 2-0, and most recently beating Burnley away 2-0. Tough game, but I have faith in Spurs 2-1.
Spurs, Everton. I can't bet against my own team. We're playing brilliant football. Everton, though, 4 wins on the bounce. But I think we're going to have a bit too much for them. I'm going to go for a 3-1 Tottenham win.
So in the late kickoff on Saturday, Liverpool host Arsenal. It is second v first. Of course, Arsenal are sitting top of the Premier League table right now, but they do seem to struggle going away to Anfield. Of course, Spurs do struggle at Anfield as well. It is just one of those grounds where some teams just don't do that well, and Arsenal do struggle at Anfield and have done in recent seasons. So I am expecting a Liverpool win. I think that if you speak to a lot of Arsenal fans, they're expecting to go that step further this season and perhaps win the Premier League title. But if you're going to win a Premier League title, you need to go to places like Anfield. You need to play games like this and win and get the result and get 3 points. But I can't see it happening. Saturday evening, I'm expecting Liverpool to get the 3 points, and I'm expecting then Liverpool sitting top of the Premier League table.
Liverpool v Arsenal. Good win for Liverpool tonight against a very poor West Ham team. I can't back Arsenal in any way, shape or form, so I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool.
Now, on Sunday, there is only one game in the Premier League because, of course, it is Christmas Eve, and I'm surprised there is even one game on Christmas Eve, but it is what it is. Wolves v Chelsea. It is 13th v 10th, so this is a mid-table clash. Of course, Gary O'Neill against Mauricio Pochettino. Pochettino has just got Chelsea through to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. They will be on a high. Wolves... I know Wolves fans, and they talk about VAR, have spoken about VAR all season, and they have had so many decisions go against them. This one, I'm going to actually go for a Wolves win. Of course, Wolves beat Spurs earlier on this season, and you know, they do have a good home record this season, and even beaten Manchester City home at Molineux this season. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Wolves win.
Wolves-Chelsea. Tough one this, but I think it's going to be a draw. Chelsea aren't pulling up any trees, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
So thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do get involved. Put your score predictions in the comment section below. Remember, it is 5 points for the correct score and 2 points for the correct result, a win, a draw or a loss. Craig, thanks so much for coming on, and I look forward to having a new guest on next week for Game Week 19 predictions. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Until the next time, come on you Spurs.